As we were talking about this panel, we agreed it was going to be a conversation. We're going to have three parts. I'm going to share a few statistics that are germane for this conversation. Then the four of us are going to have a conversation between us kids. And then if there's questions from the panel, we'll round out the conversation this morning that way. But first, some numbers. In the industry that we love so much, the medical device industry, African Americans represent 3.4% of the leadership, and that is at all levels. 2% of funding goes to women-led startups, and approximately $1 billion has been invested in women's health technologies. And wait for it, 4.3 trillion is invested in the healthcare ecosystem. So 1 billion versus 4.3 trillion. So that grounds the conversation and tries to express the opportunity, I believe, that we have. Over the next 15 minutes, we'll have a view of what's happening in MedTech and globally, but we'll spend a lot of time talking about what's happening in the United States. And I'm delighted to spend some time to have this conversation with you. I'm Kwame Ulmer, and I've been fortunate enough to work in this sector for 21 years. I spent 12 years at the FDA evaluating these medical technologies. So why did the robber rob the bank? This is maybe an American joke, because that's where the money is. Why are startups innovating in digital health? Because that's where the capital has been poured into over the last several years. The black chart, the black bar, shows investment in venture capital and digital health solutions in the United States over the last several years. The relatively flat green line is traditional medical devices. So even though we've seen some hiccups in the prescription digital therapeutic world, I believe we'll continue to see innovation and investment in that space as the regulatory and reimbursement framework catches up with these innovative solutions that really are driving outcomes. So if you had to guess the first time Google stepped foot in the FDA's building, would you say 2 years ago, 5 years ago, or 10 years ago? Who would say 2 years ago? Who would say 5 years ago? Who would say 10 years ago? Exactly. It's an opportunity, but the insight is it's a long journey if you want to be innovative in a regulated area, and the capital that's invested in that space needs to be patient, but the payoffs can be huge. And I think I'm really excited about large pools of capital like ARPA-H that are going to be focused on making big moonshot bets in healthcare to fertilize more companies that are in it for the long haul and are willing to interact with the FDA on a regular basis. Founding team that I would meet 10 years ago looked like this. A middle-aged gentleman, halfway through his career at Medtronic, thinks he can build a better widget. He teams up with a clinician from Cedars-Sinai, and they're off to the races. Now, I meet a PhD physicist who worked at NASA, who teams up with someone who sold for Verizon and knows how to do enterprise sales, who teams up with someone who actually worked in building products, but a really cross-functional team from disparate industries, and that synergy can be magic. And I think that's a really compelling team for the future.